Welcome. So far we have learned the big O notation, big omega and theta notation. And then you also seen their properties. Now there are two more notations, small or little o notation and little omega notation. Just like we learned the upper bound big O and lower bound big omega, we'll have we will also give the upper bound. The little o also give the upper bound and the little omega will also give the lower bound, just like your this one. But only difference is here we make it more strict. Okay, so let's understand what exactly this means. What is little o notation? Suppose you take a and b are two functions. So you are saying a is strictly less than b. So this means what? So if I say this is my f of n and this is my g of n, so this is always strictly less. For big O, what we have done, we take this equality sign. Okay. So here there is no equality sign. So what will be the definition? This is also always a positive function. So because input size is positive and the function should be positive. 0 less than or equal to f of n less than c into g of n for all n greater than some critical input size. Okay. So here is the difference. So when I explained big O, I told you be careful about this. So this is less than or equal to. If less than or equal to, then it is big O. Here it is strictly less than. So what exactly this means? And also this should hold for arbitrarily small c. So that means what you can say. So this inequality we can make it easily, right? You choose c, very big c. Okay, and then obviously f of n will become less than c into g of n. So, but it should also work for arbitrarily small constant. For example, I can choose c is equal to 0.00000 something 1, but still this condition less than should hold. Okay. Now, what exactly this means? So, if I have a, it's all about order of growth, okay, or rate of growth. If I have a function f of n, then I have an upper bound, say c into g of n. So always this implies what? The rate of growth of g of n, okay, irrespective of this constant, whether it's small or big, it should work. Always rate of growth of g of n should be strictly greater, okay, greater than growth of f of n. That is the meaning. So there is no equality here. So what exactly this means? This means always the function g of n grows faster compared to f of n, okay, very faster. The next slide we'll see how we'll calculate that rate, okay, relative rate. So then we can say in this case f of n is equal to small o of g of n. Okay. So how to find it? We'll see a method. So this is the first basic definition or the concept of little o notation. So if it is strictly less than only, then I can have little o of g of n. But the converse is not true. Why? Because converse means the reverse. Because I was saying strictly less than. So g of n cannot be equal to small o of f of n because it is below this. Converse is not true. Similarly, reflexivity is not true. So in big O, I can write f of n is equal to big O of f of n. Okay, and that is valid for big O. For little o, it is not valid because it is strictly less. I cannot write like this small o of f of n. What exactly this means? This means the same function is less than the same function. It cannot be true. It can be equal. Okay. So because here we are using less than or equal to, that it holds. F of n equal to f of n I can write, but here I cannot write because f of n is less than f of n. So it is always not equal to. So it is also called as irreflexivity. So how will you find? So you have to just intuition is as the input size n approaches infinity. That means mathematically representing it as n approaches infinity. That means for a very large input, how the growth happens. So we can only represent f of n. This is the method I am telling. F of n is equal to small o of g of n only if this holds. If this holds. Why? Let us see this. See, what exactly we mean to say is to write like this. Okay, my curve, say f of n is like this. Then g of n is always grows faster than f of n. That is the meaning. So it goes very faster compared to g of f of n. Okay. So let us say like this, grows very faster. C into g of n. So if this is growing very faster, what exactly this means? If I take f of n divided by g of n, okay, let us take the division. F of n is growing at slower rate. Is growing at slower rate. G of n is growing at faster rate, very faster rate compared to your g of f of n. Okay, so that means what? My f of n is very small when compared to g of n. My f of n is very small compared to g of n when the input size approaches infinity. That is the meaning. So that means what? Fn has a negligible comparison with g of n, right? Of n is very small, the growth rate is very small or negligible compared to g of n. That is the meaning. So in that case, what will happen for large input size? So f of n growth rate is, say, for simplicity I'm taking, okay, these numbers are not mathematically valid, but for your understanding I'm taking it. Let us say f of n, say growth rate is, say, 1, okay, per unit. Then for g of n, it is, say, some 10 power 6 per unit. So f of n divided by g of n, I can almost say it is equivalent to 0. That is the meaning. So when I give the limit n approaches infinity, I can write it as exactly 0. That is the concept here. So if you see the limit n approaches infinity, f of n divided by g of n is equal to 0. Okay, the limits exist and it is 0. Then what we say, we can write it as f of n equal to small o of g of n. So that is the concept behind it. So let's see some examples. They are given f of n equal to n and then g of n equal to n square. Determine is f of n equal to little o of g of n. So you take the limit n approaches infinity, f of n divided by g of n. This should be equal to 0. This is limit n approaches infinity. What is f of n? N divided by n square. This is nothing but limit n approaches infinity 1 by n. So now substitute infinity here. So this becomes 0. Right? 1 by infinity is 0. Hence we can write this implies f of n is equal to small or little o of n square. That means what? For large input, graphically what exactly? N is a straight line. This is my f of n. N square for large input grows like this. Okay, very growth rate is very high for g of n compared to this. Then definitely I can say this is f of n is always below this, always less than after some n naught. Okay, that is always true. This n naught will be there. So that is the concept how you find. Let us take another example here. Again, check limit n approaches infinity, f of n divided by g of n. This is limit n approaches infinity, f of n is given as n square divided by 3n square. So this is equal to 1 by 3. So this is not equal to 0. Hence, we cannot say f of n is not equal. We can say f of not equal to small o or little o of g of n. Why? See, because what exactly this means? 3n square belongs to same family. Okay, quadratic family. So their order of growth is not so fast. Okay, so if I take f of n, it goes something like this: 3n square. Okay, this is n square. This is 3n square. So it will little bit, because n square is the dominant term. You already seen in the analysis framework. Constants are ignored. So n square is the dominant term. So the g of n is something like this. Okay, c into g of n, 3 into g of n. That is the reason. See, there is no much difference. Okay, because they belong to same family. So that is the reason the limit is giving you not 0. Hence, this we cannot define this little o. The next is little omega. Okay, this is similar to your lower bound. Okay, big omega, we have strict lower bound. Okay, f of n goes strictly faster than g of n, never matching its rate. So just write c of c into g of n is strictly less than f of n. So g of n is the strict lower bound for all n greater than or equal to n naught. And here you can choose very small c. Okay, that will work. But this should also work for arbitrarily large c, say 10 power 8. This should work. Okay, this will always should be strictly less than that. So graphically, if I draw input size and then my function, what exactly I am saying here? This is, say, my lower bound c into g of n, and then I have my f of n. So f of n should grow very faster, okay, very faster compared to g of n. then only I can write, if it is true, then only I can write it as f of n is equal to small omega, or little omega of g of n. This is the definition. Just the reverse of your little o. So now how will you find? So again the same properties. This already are defined. Then irreflexivity and transpose symmetry. So this again it is not reflexive, because I told you already, because they are not equal. You cannot say they are equal, then I can say both way. Okay, reflexive. F of n cannot be the lower bound for f of n, because it is should be strictly less than. So that is not possible. So it is irreflexive. But transpose symmetry is possible, because I told you these two are the reverse of each other, right? So just like your big O and big omega, there also we saw the transpose symmetry. Here we see the transpose symmetry for little o and little omega. So same thing. If I have f of n and then say I have c into g of n. Okay. So by transpose symmetry, I can write for f of n is equal to small o of g of n. See, for f of n, this is the upper bound. Okay, it's going at a very fast rate. So I can write. Similarly, for g of n, f of n is the lower bound. So g of n, I can write it as small omega of f of n. So that is transpose symmetry. That holds true. Then how will you check the lower or little omega exists or not? So there it was equal to 0, right? Because f of n is growing very slower compared to g of n. Here it is reverse. Right? F of n is the lower bound, so it is growing very fast. Growing very fast. G of n is growing very slow. So it is as good as saying that say 10 power 8 divided by rate. For example, I am giving divided by say 0.0001. For example, 10 power minus 8 you can take. So this is 10 power 16. So it will be a very big number. So approaches infinity as input size approaches infinity. So you have to check the limit f of n divided by g of n approaches infinity. Then you will get, can write this bond. Okay, lower or small or little omega. Let's see few examples. F of n equal to n square and g of n equal to n. Evaluate the growth trend to determine if f of n equal to small or little omega of g of n using the limit criteria. So limit of n approaches infinity, f of n divided by g of n. So this is equal to limit of n approaches infinity. What is f of n? N square divided by n. So this will be equal to n, right? So n approaches infinity, I will get it as infinite. So hence this I can write, this implies f of n is equal to little omega of g of n. Now let us evaluate this. F of n equal to 2 power n, g of n equal to n power 10. So limit n approaches infinity, 2 power n divided by n power 10. If you observe, it is in infinite by infinite form, right? So I can apply in our calculus. You will learn this L'Hopital's rule. Okay. So what it does, you differentiate this separately. So to make this a constant, I have to differentiate it 10 times. If you differentiate this equation 10 times, I will get it as 2 power n. So limit n approaches infinity, 2 power. You can also solve it using Taylor series in a simple method, but you can apply L'Hopital's rule if it is in this form. Here also you can apply 2 power 10. Then you have log, you get it as log 2 to the power 10 divided by 10 factorial. So now 2 power n. If you substitute, you will get it as infinity. Hence, I can write f of n equal to omega of g of n. Let us see some more examples, both on little o and little omega. Analyze the asymptotic scaling relation between functions by checking whether log n equal to small or little o of n holds true. So f of n is log n, that is what they are given, and then g of n is n. So apply limit n approaches infinity, f of n divided by g of n. For little o, this limit should evaluate to 0. So limit n approaches infinity, log n divided by n. So it is again infinite divided by infinite, right? So I can apply L'Hopital's rule. So differentiate this. Log n is 1 by n. So limit n approaches infinity, 1 by n. Differentiation of n with respect to n is 1. So 1 by infinity is 0. Hence, this implies what? I can write log n is equal to little o of n. This holds true. Next, evaluate the structural limit ratio of the functions to check whether n cube equal to little o of n square. So here, limit n approaches infinity, n cube divided by n square. So if I evaluate this, I will get it as limit n approaches infinity n. So this is equal to infinity. It's not 0. Hence, I cannot write. So n cube is not equal to little o of n square. Okay, obviously, you can see and tell, right? N cube is larger compared to n square. Next, so determine the little omega. So again, limit n approaches infinity, n log n divided by n. So this gets cancelled. So this becomes infinity. Hence, true. I can write n log n is equal to little o of n. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll learn the properties and relationship between the big notations and the little notations. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.